Just when you think it really can't get any colder here on the Canadian prairies, you have a day like today. Woke up this morning and the temperature was minus 41 Celsius, which, if my math is right, it's about minus 40 in Fahrenheit as well. And then we had a big wind chill, which put the temperature, or what it feels like rather, well over minus 50. Things get pretty brittle at these temperatures, so I thought I'd take this spectacularly glorious sunny day to talk about how you need to dress to get the best out of these beautiful sunny days in the Canadian prairies. So we're going to start off with mitts. And as you can see, I have some really great moose hide mitts going on here. The great thing about moose hide is that they block the wind. So no wind is going to get through. And as I mentioned, when it's minus 52, or feels like minus 52 Celsius with the wind chill, you definitely want something to break the wind. I got these moose hide mitts probably, I'm going to say, at least 35 years ago, and as you can see, they're still in really good shape. They have some nice little rabbit fur to decorate things, and they're a little bit roomy on me, which is really important because, as you can see, I actually have another layer of mittens on. These are merino wool. They're made by Smart Wool, and that is the secret of staying warm, is to layer up. So to have at least 2 layers of everything that you're doing. These mitts, these little gloves, are made of merino wool, and the great thing about merino wool is that they wick away moisture. So if you happen to be outside on a day like this and you're doing any kind of physical activity, your hands may start to get a little bit warm and they may actually start to sweat. And the great thing about these is that they will wick away the moisture and keep your hands nice and warm. So that's tip 1, layer up. Okay, now that we know that our hands are staying nice and warm, let's talk about this. So the first thing that you want to do, obviously, is invest in a really good toque. I have long hair, and the problem with toques is that they tend to slip up, so it's kind of hard for me to find one that I like. But nevertheless, find one that's a pretty good fit and goes well over your ears. And if you're like me and you have long hair, it's a really good idea to actually tie your hair back in a ponytail when you're wearing a toque, because when you do this motion back and forth, you're going to end up with a giant knot in the back of your hair, which is really hard to take out. And then of course you're going to have some sort of hood in whatever jacket you're wearing. This jacket that I'm wearing is actually the essential part of winter gear, and it is a Canada Goose downfill parka. It's the Expedition model, which means that it's very, very warm. And the cool thing about this is that you can see the hood is very roomy, and if we turn sideways a little bit, see how it kind of sticks out and protrudes? That's really important, because when you have your hood up, it's going to break that wind from actually hitting your face. The other great thing about Canada Goose parkas is that they're all equipped with a coyote fur trim, and although it looks absolutely smashing and stylish, it actually serves a pretty practical purpose, and that is no ice or snow will ever stick to coyote fur. So, if you happen again to be doing a little bit of physical activity, maybe you're getting a little bit warm, you're sweating, the steam from your breath, it won't collect and it won't make you cold. So that's a really good tip too. Always have a great jacket. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a really good parka. I was very fortunate to pick up this Canada Goose downfill parka when a local store was closing out. Believe it or not, it is more than 20 years old. It still kind of looks good, I think. The thing with outdoor gear is that brace yourself, because it is going to get expensive. This parka here today retails for about $1,200, which sounds absolutely crazy. But if you are going to be spending a lot of time outdoors, perhaps you work outdoors, it is a really good investment. And like I say, it's going to last you a really, really long time. And we're going to start peeling off a few of these layers and seeing what's underneath. So as I said, step one is to get yourself a really good parka. And this one has 1,000,000 pockets, which is awesome. So lots of great layers, and it actually has this really cool little belt that you could cinch up, put together, and it'll keep the cold from blowing up your jacket. So we're going to get rid of this and talk about the next layer. Remember, I told you it's all about layering. So under the parka we have a fleece. Any kind of fleece will do, or actually a really warm wool sweater will also do the trick. Once we get that off, as you can see, I have another layer going on here, and this is again a layer of merino wool. This is called a base layer if you're going shopping, and it is merino wool. It's a little bit better than just plain wool because it's not as itchy, but if you have a problem with any kind of wool, you might want to opt for something called a synthetic. It's going to be a polyester. It's going to be very silky feeling. The problem with those is that I don't like the way they feel against my skin, actually, and they smell. If you sweat at all, you get like one wear out of them, and then you really need to wash them because they do absorb all your body odor and they smell absolutely terrible. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about price point in these things. This merino pullover cost about $100, which again sounds like a crazy amount of money, but they basically do last forever, and for me it's the best choice, especially like I said, if you're going to be doing any kind of physical activity and sweating a little bit, you want to get that moisture away from your body, and this merino wool does a great job of pulling it away from your body, storing it somewhere, not sure where, and keeping you warm and dry. Okay, I put my jacket back on because we are doing this in real time, and it is in fact minus 30 something outside, so I don't really want to get too cold. Let's talk about the bottoms. All right, so what I have on here is a pair of snow pants, or ski pants if you want to call them. These are actually just ones that go up to your waist. I prefer the ones I have that are the bibs, so the bib comes up and then there's actually a panel in the back. I couldn't find those today, but those are the ones I prefer because a little more layering, a little bit more warmth, and you don't get any wind going up. But basically you want a layer of pants that again is going to break the wind. So these are windproof pants. You can hear them, they're kind of scrunchy and crunchy because it's super cold. So that's layer one. And then layer two is, I'm just going to scooch down here, another layer of pants. Again, you can wear any kind of pants you want. If you have an old pair of sweats, those will do the trick. Maybe you have some canvas pants or even a pair of jeans, although pants or jeans, you don't get a whole lot of mobility out of them, so not my favorite. Okay, so we're going to shimmy down this layer, and we're going to end up with, don't worry, it's not X-rated, long underwear. You know what? I remember watching a movie once and someone said there's nothing sadder than a woman with ratty underpants. Look at that. Oh boy, that's bad. Anyway, long underwear, absolutely essential. Best if you can get them in hot pink, like I do, of course. Again, merino wool, again, $100, but they are the best. One tip I will give you, when you are buying long underwear or a base layer, avoid cotton. Here's what happens with cotton. It basically gets wet and it gets damp and it holds in all that dampness and it makes you cold. So you know those thermal long underpants that we used to see the old prospectors wear with the trapdoor in the back? Yeah, don't buy those. You want to invest again in merino wool, which is going to set you back probably $100 again, or those synthetics, those polyester ones, which probably come in at around $30, $35. So totally up to you, but get yourself a really good pair, and again, layer up long underwear, pants, and ski pants, and your bum will stay warm. We're going to talk about footwear, my favorite subject. I used to have this condition which I called soup in the boots. So basically what would go on is that I would put on my socks and my boots and head out and do a little bit of activity. My feet would get really hot. they'd sweat, my socks would get wet, and then if I ever stopped doing what I was doing for even 5 minutes, my feet would start to get really cold. So what you need to do is, first of all, invest in a really good pair of boots. I'm going to show you what I have here. Okay, this is my boot. These are actually Sorel brand, and they are 25 years old. I kid you not. They are fully rubber. They don't need to be fully rubber, but certainly the bottom needs to be rubber. So when you're looking for a pair of boots to buy, look for one that has definitely a rubber outer. That means no hikers that have the perforations that you wear to go hiking in the summer. Those are not going to cut it. You need something that's really sturdy and that is definitely waterproof. This part can be canvas or something like that. That doesn't matter, but I have had these boots for such a long time and they do take me through all the seasons. I do have another pair of Sorels. They're very big and very heavy and not the best for hiking. Inside your boots you have a liner, so it's just this little thing, which is great because it also comes out. So if your boots do happen to get a little bit damp, you can dry them out. All right, let's talk socks. Look at that. I am a big fan of merino wool, if you haven't figured that out by now. And these are a pair of Smart Wool socks. They are at least 80% merino wool, which is really important because, again, wicking away the moisture, keeping your feet nice and dry, and keeping them toasty warm. Another tip that I was going to mention, when you are looking for boots, and if you have a problem with your feet getting cold, try and buy your boots at least a half a size larger. You might even want to go up a full size. That's going to give you room for one pair of socks, maybe even 2 pairs of socks, and that space is going to act as insulation, and from your body heat being warm, your boot is going to actually get nice and warm, and you'll be a lot more comfortable. So that's my tip of the day. If you're looking for boots, if you're shopping for boots, go up a half a size, if not a full size.